With the World Bank having cut its global growth forecast, what's in store for the South African economy this year? Saijil Singh, who's lead analyst at Coface, is with us in studio. Two stories, Saijil.
Yes, Alec.
Benefit of the oil price, impact of Eskom. How are you reading it?
Well, I'm not sure there's a benefit of the oil price for South Africans in general.
Whoa!
Well, come. We're happy.
Hey,
Petrol
Baba.
price comes down, yes it does. However, what is the true effect on consumers? We're getting a 10% benefit, much like the UK.
Excuse me, it's gone from 14 Rand to 11 Rand.
Yes, but it's not just about the price you're paying at the pump. It's about the food price increases. Now, they have escalated due to...
No, I'm talking about the impact of the oil price. I know the oil price is putting trillions of dollars into consumers' pockets this year. And now you say it's not good for the country.
No, I'm not saying it's not good for the country. I'm saying we're not seeing the full benefits. So
Case,
while we're
Case
getting...
says 2% on growth.
He
Case
says only 10%.
Hey? He's saying, no, he didn't say 10%. He said the other way.
No. It is much benefit that we're getting with the UK.
I'm saying it's comparable to the UK scenario where you're getting as a consumer a 10% reduction in overall costs due to this. Now, it's not just about how much you're paying for petrol at the pumps, as I say. In terms of our entire economy, in terms of manufacturing, logistics, etc., the prices have escalated to such an extent that they aren't coming down now just because the oil price is coming down, but they have gone up when the oil price was going up. So in essence, you're seeing practically a 50% reduction in cost for oil. So going from the 110 down to the 50.
What's the benefit to South Africa?
Right now, not much at all, really speaking. You're getting literally a 10% reduction in cost in general as a consumer.
But that's massive. If you take 10% on the margin, you take 10% of somebody whose maybe their disposable income is 15% of their salary, you give them another 10% cut on that. That's a huge boost. On their
disposable income.
So are you telling us you're not going to see any impact or very little impact on the South African economy of the cut in the oil price?
Exactly. You must understand that at the moment we're very consumer driven, and until confidence in terms of consumer spending comes up to pace with the drop in the oil price, then only are you going to see that real benefit of 10%. So that would mean that people would have a 10% benefit in saving and then go out and spend that 10% more. We're not getting that for a number of reasons where there are fragilities in the economy. Where there's
low interest rates?
Low interest rate. What about the basic things like unemployment? You're looking at a year where we started off 2014 at around 24.5% unemployed. Now it's 25.5%. So is that giving extra confidence to people? Are they saying now because there's a 10% reduction in, a 50% reduction in oil price, does that mean we're going to get more jobs? No, it doesn't translate as easily as that. So it's a number of other issues that we have that's preventing the country itself from growing.
No, you're very grumpy.
And that's why
you got out of the bed the wrong way today. If you're telling me, look, we're an oil importing country.
Yes.
It's our biggest import by far. We're paying half as much for what we were paying a year ago. As a country.
As a country, yes.
We're paying half as much we were, and you say, no, it's not going to affect us.
If it was a direct supply
get a smile somewhere, man. Help us out here.
I would say you're right if our fuel price dropped by 50%.
Okay, well, the bad news, of course, is Eskom.
Yes.
Now, I'd like you to give us your view on what adjustment this has made to the economic growth rate. We had a guy from an American bank yesterday who said it was about 0.5 percentage point. The impact of Eskom, if in other words, a well-operated Eskom this year against what we're going to have this year, will take half a percent of growth. What's your view?
Yeah, around that. We're looking at 0.4% in terms of pure GDP growth. You're looking at the country being restricted by growing around that 0.5% mark, just due to the lack of electricity, lack of power available to companies.
Did you work the numbers? 180 billion. That's the number.
180 billion. Here, I'd say around 100 billion if you're looking at
Well, if it's 0.5% of GDP, which is 350 billion US, that is 17 billion US. Multiplied by 11.
Yeah, so realistically, let's say now around the 0.3%.
180 billion rand because Eskom is not efficient.
Well,
That's
we can't say that they're not efficient. So all we're talking about is the output. So we're saying that because there's not enough electricity, it affects a number of things, FDI, local sentiment, it affects capacity of manufacturing. So that's the result. The reasons why, that's something different. Whether they're efficient, whether our infrastructure is good enough, you know, there's a number of reasons and a number of arguments for it. But what we're quantifying is what is the outcome, you know, what's the result of it.
180 billion rand is a big smack on a small economy like ours.
Yeah.
Just take it one step further. We've had this developmental state experiment in South Africa for a few years. It hasn't seemed to have worked. We've got the deal today where Engen was going to be bought by another state-owned enterprise. That's now been put on ice. Are we seeing a change?
Highly unlikely. You know, the biggest problem is that growth, while it should be facilitated by government policies, it shouldn't be their responsibility. Growth within a country or any emerging economy should be the objective of business, of the private sector. And that's not what we're getting. We're getting a shrinking private sector. We're getting, in terms of unemployment in the country, the private sector is what's contributing to that unemployment number going up. You know, because government sector is still employing, the wage bill is still increasing. So government is trying too hard in areas where they shouldn't be. Rather be a facilitator, rather make it easier for the private sector to grow on its own and attritionally. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that these government interventions are not going to have a significant
but
impact.
the fact that it's not going to be allowed, that Petro SA is not allowed to buy Engen, which everyone thought was a done deal. In other words, the biggest petrol retailer is no longer going to be part of the state. Isn't that a positive move?
Not really, because how does it benefit the consumer?
Well,
How?
if it had happened, it would not have benefited the consumer. It would be more state encroachment. The
Yeah.
fact that it isn't happening, is it not maybe the penny has dropped, that exactly what you've been suggesting should happen is now finally hit, or you think it's too early?
I think it's way too early.
Oh,
To see the real effects way too early.
how do we get him to tell us some good news, Cooks?
Is there good news? Maybe that's the question.
Is there good news? Well, the good news is there's lots of opportunity. That's the reality of
Where?
it. I mean, in terms of us as a country, we are predominantly an exporting nation. That's what we want to be. We want to export more than we import. And the weak rand has given us that opportunity to do it. You know, there's a number of reasons why we're not capitalizing on this. You know, there's a number of restrictions for business. It's a lack of appetite. It's a lack of understanding. It's a lack of businesses having that network to go and expand their operations into Africa, etc. So there's a number of things limiting them and preventing them from doing this, but the opportunity is still there. And if we start getting businesses capitalizing on that opportunity, then we will see definite results and growth within, or real growth, I should say, within our economy.
Saijil, thank you so much. At least we entered that off on a smile. That was Saijil Singh, lead analyst at Coface.